Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to Center Field. This is a Western Connecticut State University student program. I'm your host, Tiante Best, along with my co-host,
Stephen Wasserman.
And we're proudly joined by the head coach of WestConn's football team, Coach Joe Loth. How are you, Coach?
Doing great today.
That's good. Great to have you here with us. Coach, for the second game in a row, Kyle McKinnon's had a good game. He had 30 carries, nearly 30 carries for 106 yards and 1 touchdown. Is he now the starting running back, or is he still splitting carries with the other guys?
I think our running back position will always be a combination of guys. Some weeks you just kind of, whoever got the hot hand, you kind of go with. Right. I know Mike Nichols is a guy that's really multiple for us now. He'll get some carries, he'll play some tight end, he'll play some receiver, maybe even play some quarterback in the Wildcat. And Khalil Patterson's always a guy that we're going to try to get some carries for too.
Nice.
So, as we anticipated, not a pretty game against Fitchburg. What can you take away from your most recent game going into the final 3 games of the season?
Well, the biggest thing we'll take away is, it was kind of the game we thought it would be. They're really good on defense. I told our offense all week it'd be the most talented defense we play against. And we thought it might be close at the end. And once again, we got to figure out a way how to win close games and, and do the things that you need to do to win those games.
Mm-hmm. So, as we know, injuries are a part of sports. Not only did you lose Austin Calamita to injury, you also lost Mike Washington, Tucker Bashand. Talk about their impacts on the team on and off the field and what those injuries are.
Well, I can't really talk about what the actual injuries are, but losing those guys, it's just always the mentality of everyone in football is next guy's got to step up. And those guys are all talented guys, and Demetrius is part of that too, part of that group of guys. And we just got to kind of reshuffle the deck and move forward as far as offensively and defensively.
So how does the injuries affect the secondary rotation? Will Bobby now revert back to more of a cornerback role, or will he be playing receiver?
Bobby, he'll stay at receiver because with Austin being banged up and not really knowing his status, so Bobby will definitely be at receiver this week. And secondary-wise, Equan Brooks is a kid that we can move from safety or corner. Okay. And then Justin Witherspoon's a talented freshman that's got a chance to play a lot this week too.
Okay.
So against Fitchburg, your team had 3 interceptions. Talk about the job your secondary did to read the passing game so well.
Oh, they did a good job. Like I said, we got some turnovers. Doug Katz had a crucial interception and almost scored on it. Austin Thornburg, freshman for us, had an interception he brought back to the 4. And Brennan Diaz had another nice interception too. So they did a good job getting the ball back.
So, Coach, it's homecoming. And what are some of WestConn's homecoming traditions?
Well, I know there's a bonfire Friday night. Our team will be there tonight at the bonfire. And I know the biggest tradition is the alumni come back and get to really reunite with each other and enjoy, kind of everyone's company and not seeing each other for a while.
Mm-hmm. That should be nice.
So the team coming to play against WestConn for the homecoming game is Worcester State. Yep. Talk about the energy the fans give the team for this game.
Without a question, I think whenever you come to a Western Connecticut football game, especially at night, and there'll be a big crowd on homecoming, there's definitely an energy that we get from the crowd, and I know our guys are excited and they'll feed off that energy.
Right.
Now, Coach, since it is homecoming, ideally high school recruits come to games such as these. Did you invite or are you expecting a lot of high school recruits?
Yeah, we always recruit. We always try to bring in high school recruits to all of our home games, but you got to kind of have a fine line of how many you want to bring in. Because if you bring in too many, they might not be able to have a personal interaction with the coaches. So we try to have that kind of fine line where we can interact with them, they get to know us, but not have too many guys that they're overwhelmed and they leave here really with no personal interaction with the coaches.
Oh, that's pretty smart. I never thought about it that way. So for the 5 home games, you kind of spread out your recruits.
Yeah, without a question.
That's smart. Yeah. So talk about the impact the homecoming game had on you when you were a player versus now as a coach.
Well, I think homecoming as a player is different. It's really 3 things. You can be an alumni, you can be a player as a coach. As a coach sometimes, it's just another game. In some ways you got some other functions you have to go to, and you got to make sure your guys are focused because they have some other functions you have to go to. As an alumni, I think it's a special thing because you really get to see your old team, but also see your old teammates. Yeah. And then as a player, I think it's special too, just because you can feel the energy, you can see a little bit bigger crowd, you can kind of see the importance of it from the former players, kind of what they took from playing football too.
And it's a different you view it a different way because you're there as a player, you're involved in everything. Then as an alumni, you're kind of coming back and saying, oh, this is what it's like from the other side, from the other point of view.
Yeah, without a question. I think the alumni are the ones that homecoming is really geared for. That's what homecoming, everyone comes back for the game, and I think they may be appreciated as much more than the players at the time.
Exactly.
I feel like the alumni, it's almost like a comedy show once the guys get back together. It's all about reminiscing about the best times, and then you're like, hold on, don't say that, my wife.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So Coach, you played DB at Otterbein University.
Yep.
You were all conference in 1990.
Long
Right,
time
so-
ago. Long time ago.
Speaking of alumni, right? So what drills did you do then that your players are doing now? And hopefully, they can use them in a game and have 13 interceptions in the school record like you did.
Well, you know what it is football in a lot of ways has changed, but football hasn't changed.
Yeah.
I mean, the same drills you do, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you're doing now as far as tackling and ball drills and all that stuff, because football games are ultimately won on fundamentals. You know what I mean? So whether it's receivers, whether it's DBs, whether it's D-line, all those things, very similar stuff happening as far as drill-wise and the way you have to practice.
Yeah. Okay, so Coach, we've discussed this before, but I would like to reanalyze it. In regards to the season, what parts of coaching do you find the most challenging, and what do you find the most enjoyable?
I think the most challenging part of coaching is, in some ways, not figuring out a way to get your team to play consistently.
Yeah.
I mean, you're always kind of knocking your head against the wall. What do we need to do in practice? What do we need to do off the field? How do we convey our message? How do we drill this or do that just to get our guys playing to a consistent level week to week?
Yeah.
But I think the rewarding stuff is when you do see a kid kind of, the light bulb goes off and he kind of gets what you're trying to say, or an alumni comes back and they've got a great job, or all those things. It's kind of seeing a player go from point A to point Z and kind of improve, whether it's in academics or it's in life or all those things.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So we talked about him earlier. You said Bobby Durham is going to stay at wide receiver because Calamita is injured, but talk about your impression so far with Bobby Durham as a wide receiver.
Well, Bobby's done a good job. He's a guy that's got a lot of speed. He's really learned how to play with a lot of effort, and he's got 3 games left. And we were talking this week in my office. We had a great conversation about how he's going to finish these last 3 weeks with great leadership and kind of be that guy that can lead our team on the offensive side.
Very good.
Coach, so when you think about the season holistically, even just leading into this week, what are the biggest areas that need the most improvement so we can get the win tomorrow?
We just got to finish games. I mean, it's been a crazy year that literally all 7 of our games have come down to the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. Yeah. I mean, there hasn't been a game where it hasn't come down to those last 5 minutes.
Really?
So we've got to figure out a way to just finish games, and us as coaches have got to figure out a way to teach our guys to finish these games.
Okay.
So offensively, defensively, special teams, who has been your best player in each of those areas, if you can think of one this season?
Well, I think offensively it's a combination of guys. I think Austin was playing
Right.
well. I think obviously our running back is playing right now, Kyle McKinnon. I think Mike Nichols done a lot of good things, and he's probably the most selfish guy, on our team, and maybe kid I've ever coached as far as his role and kind of doing some different things. But I think it's a variety of guys on both sides of the ball. I don't think there's anyone that stood out like a first-team All-American like Octavius was, a couple years ago.
Right, yeah.
But I think we have a lot of guys that are working hard and trying their best, and I think on both sides of the ball we have guys at all 3 levels that are doing a good job.
So excluding your captains, talk about some of the players that show great leadership skills.
Great leadership skills. I think you're going to have a guy in here later, Jordan Soldinger, who's
Yep.
is a captain for us. He's a center. He's a vocal guy. He's a guy that really cares, and he's a guy that sometimes you want guys that care but also are vocal leaders. And he's done a really good job as far as being a vocal leader. I think on defense, Kevin Max is probably our best vocal leader on defense.
Yeah.
He's a guy that wasn't a captain, was appointed a captain like week 3, and he really cares and he's involved. And once again, he's a kid that's willing to say stuff. Sometimes being a great leader is also having the ability of doing the right things, then also saying stuff, being able to be vocal about it too. And both those guys are really good with that.
And something I noticed when I was at the game again, I was filming the game against Fitchburg, the 2 players that were the most vocal on the sidelines were those players you just mentioned. Jordan Soldinger and Kevin Maxim were yelling, trying to shout out instructions, trying to get their team motivated to try and do their best in that game.
Yeah, without a question. Like I said, vocal leadership is crucial on a football program, and to have true vocal leadership, you have to be a leader and you have to be a good player and you got to do things the right way also.
So let's stay on the topic of improvement in leadership. Well, since day 1 in camp, who are some of the players that have had the greatest improvement from then until now?
I think if you look at our defensive line, there's guys like Mike Kaiser that's never started before that started, and he was a kid that's really gone from being a solid kid, and every week he makes a couple more plays. I think offensive line, if you look at Justin Gray, our left tackle, has gotten better every week. I just think everyone's there's a lot of guys that have gotten better, and and have improved that way.
That's good. Yeah.
So, Coach, who are some of the players that had the chance to make an all-conference team this year?
Well, I don't know. We're in a league. We haven't had a lot of all-conference guys the last 3 years.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, we've been really good on offense, and have only had a couple. So, you really can't control who's all-conference, or it's
Right.
kind of more, political than anything else. So, I think our all-conference guys this year are potentially Kevin Maxson, like I said, on defense, potentially Jordan Soldinger on offense, potentially Kyle McKinnon, Austin Calamita had a chance, but you really can't control who's going to be all-conference in our league.
Gotcha.
So your opponent this week for homecoming is Worcester State.
Yep.
They're coming in tomorrow at 1-5.
Yep.
They have the worst offense in the league, but they also have the best defense. So how do you plan on exploiting their weaknesses?
Well, I think, if you look at them offensively, they're an improving offense, kind of like you saw from Fitchburg. They got a young quarterback that's getting better every week. He's inconsistent with throwing sometimes, so I think we've got to stop them from running the ball, and make them throw. And then defensively, they're talented up front, a little bit like Fitchburg up front, and they got a talented secondary. So I think we got to try to run the ball, not turn the ball over, get the ball in the fourth quarter, and hopefully the team that runs the ball better, and hopefully we're that team, is going to win tomorrow.
Worcester State allowed 42 points last week, scored on them. Is that a realistic goal for WestCon to replicate that this week?
I don't know if you try to replicate how many points are scored on them. I think you try to maximize how many points you can score on offense, and really our goal is to score one more point than they score when the game ends. So I don't know if 42 points is a goal, but our goal is to be efficient on offense and be balanced on offense, be able to run and throw the ball, and just be effective on offense.
Okay.
In terms of efficiency, when you think about your starting 22 versus their starting 22, and our guys doing their best 111th, do you feel as if we have a favorable matchup versus Worcester State?
I think every week if our 22 do their job, and hopefully we feel like every week if we do our job and do the right things, we have a favorable matchup. And I think hopefully defensively we match up well. We feel pretty good that hopefully we can stop the run against them, and their throwing game is a little bit of a concern because teams have thrown the last couple weeks on us a little bit. And offensively, hopefully we can run the ball consistently. Hopefully, that's the thing. We're a little nervous last week matching up against Fitchburg in some areas, and hopefully, we match up a little bit better this week.
Okay.
So does having back-to-back home games make a difference versus back-to-back games on the road? Which is, again, you just had two away games. Now you have 2 home games. What's the difference?
Well, this week doesn't really matter because it's kind of your first home game. I think next week, hopefully, it matters where you've
Okay.
kind of settled in for a couple weeks, and that second home game in a row is the one that hopefully, it just kind of helps you kind of because you are settled.
So if you had to pick a specific player on offense and defense, which players have the toughest matchups versus Worcester State?
That's a good question. I know Jordan, who's going to be in here in a second, has a tough matchup because their nose guard's
Okay.
a big kid that's a really good player. And then defensively, all 4 of their receivers are really good. So I think our secondary, has their hands full a little bit as far as containing their receivers.
Well, Coach, thank you for joining us. And good luck tomorrow. It's homecoming. I hope you enjoy it, get the outcome that you want.
Right.
And up next, as Coach has said, we'll be joined by WestCon's captain, Jordan Soldinger. Stay with us right here at Center Field.
What I like most is the faculty.
Being able to be in that small type of classroom setting, being able to have that one-on-one with the professors has helped me grow more.
I have seen jobs put up by huge corporations. They're looking for WestCon. Our students are the students who are actually prepared.
This past summer I was a research assistant, which is something I would never expect to be able to do going into my sophomore year of college.
which makes it really easy for us to just hop on a train, go down there. I mean, I saw Howard Zinn, who's a great American historian, and Eric Foner is another great American historian, and it was a quick train ride away.
You know, it had the best program, the faculty. It has a lot of credentials. It's affordable. It's really close to the city.
The people in my classes and the professors are like a family.
It's family here. That's something I couldn't feel anywhere else. That's important.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Center Field. I'm your host, Tiante Best, along with my co-host, Chris Walker. And we're proudly joined by Captain Jordan Soldinger. So how you doing, Jordan?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm good. Welcome to Center Field.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Jordan, where are you from?
I'm from Bay Shore, Long Island.
How long of a commute is that from here to your
It's
hometown?
like 2 hours, 15 minutes.
It's a nice commute, so I know you
Yeah.
definitely live on campus.
Yeah, without
Don't
doubt.
want to drive from there. So, Jordan, what's your major?
I'm a JLA major.
And with JLA, what is it that you want to do?
I want to go into corrections or policing is
Okay.
the goal, yeah.
And be a police officer. Do you want to stay here, be a police officer, or go?
NYPD or Suffolk, my home town would be cool.
Sounds
That
exciting.
area, yeah.
Okay, good luck with that.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, who did you look up to while you were growing up playing football?
I'm a Jets fan, so I always looked up to the Jets offensive
That's
linemen.
unfortunate.
Yeah, it's been a rough year for us. So Nick Mangold and guys like that. DeBrickashaw Ferguson's from right around the corner from me in Port Jefferson, so that's cool.
Okay.
Very cool.
So, you're a full-time student, and playing football here at WestCon is like a full-time job, 30 to 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
How do you balance your academics and playing football?
Well, the biggest thing is just remembering that you're a student first, and once you get your studies done, then whatever extra time you have has got to be devoted to football and that type of stuff. But just being a student is the most important thing.
Yeah, get ready to get that homework done.
Yeah, you got to get that done.
So, your teammates must have a ton of respect for you. You're a captain, you're only a junior. Usually, your captains are seniors. Now, tell us about the maturation process and from your first year to now and why you were selected as a captain.
Yeah, well, I transferred in here, and when I transferred in, I guess from where I transferred from, I held a high standard, and I just came here and just tried to have as much fun as possible, and I think that's what the guys see, and they liked it. And
It's always good to
rolled
have fun
with
with it.
Yeah, you gotta have fun.
Definitely.
Just being
Gotta have
yourself
fun.
and guys accept you is cool.
Exactly, yeah. The fun's the most important thing.
Right. Now, what's it like to be a center in the game of football? When I played, I was only ever a quarterback, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not nowhere big enough to be a center, so what's that like? to play that
It's
position?
awesome. It's just a dogfight every time, and it's just I wouldn't ask to play any other position. It's really cool. Everyone just kind of relies on you. It's awesome.
Right, so we spoke with Austin Calamita. He was actually a guest on the show last week. He was like, "You guys are gonna have Jordan on?" He was like, "His nickname is Pot Roast." Can you tell us about that nickname?
So one of my roommates and longtime buddies, just one spring practice, he's like, "I think I'm gonna start calling you Pot Roast." And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "I don't know. I hope it clicks." And ever since then, it just clicked, and the whole team and school, everyone just kind of ran with it. And
Yeah.
now I just embrace it. There's nothing I can
Pot
do.
roast. I thought it was
Yeah.
like a food reference, like that's your favorite
Yeah.
food.
No, I literally don't even like pot roast. It's just something a guy did and it rolled. It just worked.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. So, everyone dreams of being. Well, actually, you kind of spoke about being, a center and being proud of it. But everyone dreams of being a quarterback and
Yeah.
scoring that game-winning touchdown. When did you realize that being a lineman was going to be your career?
Well, when I was in middle school and I was twice as big as everyone else, I didn't really have the choice. And then it's just something I just love being able to go out and just
physical
everyone
and tear
just
people
be
up.
physical and just
Yeah.
it's like a fight and it's a legal fight. I could go out and fight every practice and I'm not getting arrested or in trouble for it. So
Yeah.
why not? I love it.
Well, soon you won't be able to arrest yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I got a tough one for you now.
Oh,
Here we go. So, as a captain, how have you kept the mood and the vibe in the locker room positive after all of these close games, wins or losses?
I just got to let the guys know that we play football for ourselves, and we play football because we love what we're doing. And if you're having fun, the rest will come. And to not really press about what our record is, and if as long as every practice you out there with a smile on your face and you're having fun, then who really cares? Like, we'll figure the rest of it out.
That's a great attitude.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, as football fans, we understand that the team only the offense only goes as far as the O-line pushes and pulls. Tell us about the other 4 offensive linemen that you go to war with every week.
We're closer than I've ever been on an offensive line. We hold each other accountable, and we all ball out every single game.
Nice.
It's awesome that no matter what our record is, our O-line goes out there with like a chip on their shoulder and says, "This is who we are. Yep. Let's go out and ball." And we have a close group of guys.
That's good. And, sometimes chosen family is more loyal than blood relatives.
Yeah.
So being a part of that old lineman brotherhood
exactly.
is a special thing.
Yeah.
So now you get a good look at Quinn Fleeting every time you play. He's behind you on every offensive play. How is he doing in your eyes?
He's doing his best, man. He's doing real well. He's going through some growing pains. He's new to the offense. He's new to the school. It's gonna happen. He's got to just keep on trucking and know that we got his back. And that's really it. If he could trust us, then we could trust him. It's that simple. And I know I could trust him, and he knows he could trust us as an offensive line.
So staying on the topic of offensive linemen, are there any of the guys who shuffle positions, play left tackle, play guard, play right tackle?
Yeah, we actually, our guards will flop based on matchup, and one of our guards actually had a shoulder injury, and the way he was in his stance, it was aggravating it, so they had no problem mid-game without the coaches even talking about it, just said, "Hey, Breon, do you mind switching with me?" And yeah, man, no problem. And
nice.
Even last year we did that. We're interchangeable group of guys.
That's good.
Now, arguably, the most important job for an O-lineman is protecting the quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. What is your personal relationship like with Quinn Fleeting on the field?
It's awesome. I got to know him a lot in the spring when he was here, and even during the Framingham game, before the game the night before, I called him and I was just like, "Hey, bud, how you feeling? How you doing?" And just talked to him and got to see what's going on with him. And it really is. I'm getting closer and closer to him as the season goes on, and he's really close with one of our guards. Like, they hang out every day on a regular basis. Yeah, it's awesome.
He better be. You better take care of your
Better be
O-lineman.
buying us dinner, man.
Yeah, a big dinner, big steak dinner, one of the big dinosaur steaks.
Exactly.
So, when thinking about this Worcester game, what does your scouting report consist of?
We just went through their whole defense. We broke down their defense against everyone they played against, and we just basically related them to how they were last year and how they are now. And we came up with a game plan, and we're going to run the football against these guys. We're just going to pound the rock and just put the game on our back as offensive linemen and just
do your best 1/11th and execute.
Exactly.
I got a multiple choice question for you now.
Okay. Is it A?
Yeah. Which of the following pieces of equipment do you get the most use out of during practice? Chutes, sleds, shields, or boards?
Boards. We use the boards. The boards and chutes go along with each other because we use them at the same time. But we always make sure we come out of the chutes low, because when you get on the field, that's like what you have to do. You come out, the high guy loses, the low guy wins. And we use the chutes the most, and the boards. It's just all about your footwork.
Interchangeable, right?
Yeah.
Let's stay with the multiple choice question. So, question A.
It's a game show now.
It is a game show. But which of the following questions or statements is the most important skill you can teach one of your fellow O-linemen? Is it post-snap footwork, post-snap hand placement, staying on course and finishing your blocks, or blocking in space?
It's the post snap hand placement is the most important, because if your hands are right, if they're tight and inside on the guy's shoulder pads, then everything else will work itself out. Because if you're wide, if you have one hand on his back or something, it just gets sloppy, and then it makes your footwork sloppy, and everything else kind of tracks off of that.
So to everyone at home, it is post snaps The question, the answer to the question was C. Post snaps where your hands are.
There you go. Oh, I'm done with the multiple choice. In your opinion, what is the most undercoached aspect of offensive line play?
Just animosity. You can't coach it. I don't know if I'm understanding the question right, but you can't coach someone to have like a killer instinct.
Yeah.
You just can't. That's something you got to have within. It's not coachable.
Right.
Yeah. You're 2-5, but you could very easily be 7-0.
Yeah.
Now, despite your record, what are some of the positives that you can take away from the previous games that you can carry on to the rest of the season?
We're rolling. We are in mid-season form, if you would say. We are doing. Our defense looks so mint right now. They are killing it, and we just have to find a way to get the ball in the end zone. Because every drive, it's yards, and then when we get in the red zone, it's just something happens every single time. So we just have to finish that, and we will be literally we'll win out if we just finish.
Similar to what Coach said.
Yeah.
You just got to finish.
You just got to finish.
The
That's the biggest
last
thing.
5 minutes and finish the
It's
game
been a
strong,
season
finish
story.
the drives. Yeah.
That's a lot of teams, I'm sure. Now, Coach explained that the team's motto is 1-0 every week.
Yeah.
That's a good motto to have. Now, I also know he harps on finishing the season strong for the seniors, especially.
Yeah.
Now, there's 3 games left in the season in their college career. What is the most important message going into these final 3 games, each one being so important?
Is just play for the guy next to you, because if that's what you do, you go out and you play because you don't want to let him down. Then, like I said a lot this interview, the rest will figure itself out. If you just look at the seniors and look at those guys and say, "Wow, this is Mike Nichols' last game. Like, I gotta really play for him." And then that's all I can really tell the guys is play for those guys, because this is it for them. They're done with this. This is a closed chapter in their book, and that's rough to go through.
Sure is.
Yeah.
So speaking of executing and finishing plays and taking care of your guys, what are some of the drills that you practice or coaching tips that your position coaches taught you that actually work in the game?
As an O-lineman, everything we do as far as blitz pickup and run fits into blitzes and run flits at a defense all affect us during the game, because it's all stuff we're going to see. And the finishing is, if you block a guy for 3 seconds, that might be good enough one play, but the next play you got to block him for 6.
Okay.
So in practice, we just strive to block him for as long as possible, because in the game it just comes natural.
Yep.
If you do it in practice, it's going to work in the game.
Okay.
So from day one at camp until yesterday at practice, who have been the most improved offensive and defensive players on the team?
As far as the most improved offensive player, we had one of our left guard, Rob Reese. He wasn't starting right away, and he just kept on trucking, and now he's a vital part of our offensive line. And really, we talk about having a strong 5. If one guy does his job and the other 4 don't, or if all 4 do the job and one doesn't, it doesn't work. And he was really like the missing link for our O-line. And as far as defensively, they're just, overall as a unit, they just look so good right now. It's crazy how good they're playing. I can't pick out one guy. I know Kevin Maxson stepped up for them and became a leader. Michael Kaiser on the defensive line, their defensive line.
Coach spoke about him too.
Yeah, I would hate to block him. Tell you that much. I wouldn't like to block him.
All right, so Jordan, if you had to choose one word to define this year's team, what would it be?
It's a matter of pride. I would say pride. We have to win out for our own personal pride.
It's a good choice.
Yeah, it's just that's what it comes down to. If you don't have enough personal pride to win these next 3 games, then this sport might not be for you. And I think we do. I think everyone on this team really does have it.
I went to a few practices, and I actually, thinking about pride for the last game, I listened to the guys close out like drills. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, pride.
Yeah,
so
it's all the time.
It's definitely important. Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for us this week at center field. Captain Jordan Soldinger.
Thank you for having me.
It's homecoming week. Thanks for joining us. Get that W.
Yeah, man.
He's Chris Walker. I'm Tiante Best. We'll see you next week right here in center field.